Hello there, welcome back to my channel, and this time we're going to compare again what's past and the sets that are retiring in 2025. Recently there's been a few sets that have come off the list of retirement, so obviously some of the videos I've done past, there could be a few that I've said they're going to retire, but then now it's changed, so obviously everybody knows that it could change, and the ones that I talk about now might still change, we don't know, so you never know until it actually gets to coming up to December, so you know what Lego's like. Anyway, this time it's the turn of Dreams and Batman, the themes on this video, that's retiring this year, hopefully. And what I've found to compare that something is either the same thing, similar, or very close to it, sort of thing. So you can see whether it does very well and whether it's going to do well now, or if it does really bad, then obviously you don't want to invest in the set that's very similar to it, because there's a good chance it's not going to. I mean, you never know. There's always the odd chance that there's a slight difference to it, and all of a sudden everybody likes that set. I don't know. There's no guarantees at all with Lego. We just have to wait and see. That's why I do these videos, to try and help the community with as much information as possible, so that then when you go to buy a set, wherever you're going to buy it, the more information you've got is whether it's pros and cons, weigh them all up, and then whether you're going to spend your money or not. So the Dreams, the first one is 71481. Izzy's Dream Animals, $34.99. Now the comparison to that one is 71455. There's only one kind of similar thing that's retired recently, that's Dreams. So it hasn't had a lot of time to increase because it only retired January this year, this particular set. So this is the Grim Keeper, the Cage Monster. That originally was £32, and now it's roughly about £25, so it's roughly lost about 20%. On Amazon people are selling it for up to £48, and it's sold 1,551 sets. And like I say, that only retired in January, so it hasn't had long to actually increase, to be fair. So next one is 71478, the Never Witch Midnight Raven, $89.99. The comparison for that one is 71457, the Pegasus Flying Horse. That retired in 2024. It was £47 when it came out. Now it's valued about £55, so that's an increase of roughly 18%. If you go on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £55, and that's sold 2,240 sets. Next one is 71483. The Never Witch Nightmare Creatures, $39.99. The comparison to that one is 71476, Zoe and Zane the Cat Owl. That retired in 2024. That was £45 to buy. Now it's worth roughly $39, which obviously is a loss of roughly 14%. But there's people selling it on Amazon for up to £82, and that sold 1,060 sets. Next one is 71484, Cooper's Robot Dinosaur C-Rex, $69.99. The comparison for that one I found is 71458, which is the crocodile car. That only retired in 2024. Obviously Dreams is quite a new theme, so there's not many retired. That was £58 to buy. Now it's worth about £40, so that's a loss of roughly 30%. On Amazon people are selling it for up to £122, and that sold 1,696 sets. The next one is 71491, Mateo and the Z-Blob Action Race Car, $44.99. Now I've got two comparisons for that one. That's 71475, which is Mr. Oz's Space Car. That retired in 2024. That was £25 to buy. Now it's roughly worth about 22, so that's roughly 11% loss. On Amazon people are selling it for up to £57, and it sold 1,531 sets. The other comparison is 71456. That retired in 2024 as well. That was £43 to buy at retail, and it's worth about £52, so it's gone up roughly 21%. On Amazon, people are selling it for up to £63, and that's sold 2,864 sets. And the last set for Dreams is that I found a comparison for is 71497, the Cooper's Tiger Mech and Zero's Hot Rod Car, $89.99. The comparison for that one is 71460, the Mr. Oz's Space Bus. That retired in 2024. That was £85 to buy, but now it's roughly worth about £71, so that's a loss of around 16%. If you look on Amazon, people are selling it for up to £165, and that sold 2,306 sets. So now we're on to Batman. So the first set for Batman is 76270 Batman Mech Armor, which was $12.99. The comparison to that one is 76117 Batman Mech versus Poison Ivy Mech. That retired in 2020. That was £35 to buy, obviously because it was like two little mechs. Now it's worth around £79, so that's an increase of around 125%. At the moment, I can't find any on Amazon or Camel 3X or anything like that. So, and they sold 1,177 sets. Next one is 76273, the Batman construction figure with the Batpod bike, $64.99. Now it's not a great comparison, but this is 76259, which is the Batman construction figure. Obviously there's no bike with it, but it's just the figure itself. Now everybody knows the figures don't do well anyway. So that retired in 2024. That was £32 to buy. Now it's worth roughly £21, which is a minus or a loss of around 33%. There is people on Amazon trying to buy it, trying to sell it for £75. There's no way they're going to get it, but still. That sold 2,059 sets. The next one is 76274, Batman with the Batmobile versus Harley Quinn and Mr. Freeze, $54.99. The comparison for that one is 76224, Batman versus the Joker Chase. That retired in 2024. It was £43 to buy. Now it's worth around £35, so that's a loss of around 21%. There's people on Amazon selling it for up to £99, and that sold 6,270 sets. Next one is 76301, Batman and the Batmobile versus Mr. Freeze, which was $17.99. The comparison for that one is 76264, Batman versus the Joker. That retired in 2024. That was £21 to buy. Now it's worth like £21 and change, so it's made a few pence. Less than 1% increase anyway. Obviously if you bought it at 20% off, you made a little bit of a profit, but not much by the time you put your fees and everything like that. So people on Amazon are selling that for up to £55, and that sold 1,328 sets. Next one, and the last one for Batman and DC, is 76302, Superman Mech versus Lex Luthor, which was $12.99. The comparison for that one is 6862, Superman versus Power Armor Lex. That retired in 2014. It was £20 to buy. Now worth around £30, which is roughly 50% increase. There's none on Amazon or Camel 3X or anything like that to compare prices or anything. So, and that sold 4,438 sets. Now I'm just going to stick on the end of this to Super Mario. So the first Super Mario is 71435, Battle with Roy and Peach's Castle, $64.99. The comparison to that one is 71408, Princess Peach's Castle. That retired in 2024. It was £115 when it retired at full price. Now it's worth around £87, which is a loss of roughly 25%. There's people on Amazon selling it for up to £181, and they sold 2,169 sets. And the last one for Super Mario's is 71436, King Boo's Haunted Mansion, $64.99. Now there's two comparisons for that one. The first one is 71377, which is King Boo's Haunted Yard. That retired in 2022. That was £45 to buy. Now it's roughly worth about £36. which is a loss of around 20%. There's people on Amazon selling it for up to £139, and they sold 2,640 sets. And the last one that compares with that one is 71423, which is Bowser Castle Battle, and that retired in 2024. That was £95 to buy. Now it's worth roughly about £81, so that's a loss of around 15%. But there is people selling it on Amazon for up to £203, and they sold 823 sets. Now obviously I know people on Amazon, you can ask whatever you like, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it. But obviously it's like the small set syndrome. As everybody sells out, and the price slowly creeps up and creeps up and creeps up, because obviously there's none left. There's none left at that cheaper price. So eventually, if people do want the set, it will find its own value, it find its own price. So maybe it will go up to those sort of ridiculous prices. You don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, obviously, if you're an investor, you hope that you're going to get as much as you can for it. I just mentioned as well at the end of the video, if you want to know how I find out how many have sold and things like that, you'll have to go back to, I don't know, maybe about 10 videos ago, because I went through the spiel then. I've stopped doing it so that my subscribers don't have to listen through the whole repetitive message all the time, trying to find out where to get the information from. So if you're a new person watching my video, you just stumbled across it and you're wondering how I know how many sets have sold, you'll have to go back and watch a load of my videos and find out. Anyway, right, so my next video will be another mix-up of sets. There's Creator and Speed Champions. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.